Hello there, it's Luton. Are you ready for a video where I tell you how I feel 50-50 about a new map? Well, it's this one, so here we go. And if you hear ticking in the background, it's my clock, because I couldn't be bothered to get up to move it. So this is the new Jungle Community CTE map, and it's in a very early stage. I want to emphasize that, because everybody has to emphasize that, despite the fact it looks like it's made out of clay, so it's so obvious you could, you know... Yes, it's an early stage map, you can see this. This map, what is good about this map? It's alright. It's a map. It's got roads and rocks and trees and 5 points, and you run between them. And there's some spaces and some spaces that are a bit closer, and yeah. It feels very much like a mix between Guilin and Altai. It's got that kind of slightly openness and slightly more jungly feel. One of the biggest problems right now is the lack of cover, lack of shelter. There's very, very large areas where there is nothing there. Now, of course, people will say that right now, this is the earliest stage of development. They're probably going to put a ton of extra rocks, trees, jungle things, buildings perhaps, lots of other elements around the map. So we shouldn't read too much into the actual state of the open cover right now. The only thing that does sort of make me think about that is the fact that there are actually a lot of trees and elements like this already. So it's kind of like they could have put more there. This is supposed to be a scale test, just so they can get the kind of idea of, you know, well, it does what it says on the tin, the scale, the idea of kind of movement around the map and how everything's working there. So, you know, from that perspective, it's okay. The distance to run between bases, though, again, is relatively large. It's obviously working on this map from a Conquest point of view. The thing that kind of concerns me about this map is what other game modes is it going to particularly work on other than Conquest? It feels like a massively missed opportunity. There aren't any particularly good rush maps that exist in Battlefield 4 right now, nothing that stands out in my mind. There's some other game modes as well which I don't see would particularly adhere to this map. So it's kind of interesting that, you know, again, from what I hear generally in the community as well, there's a lot of talk of like, why aren't certain maps specifically tailored towards certain game modes? Why isn't that thought of more? Why isn't it thought of that certain maps would be able to appeal to different things? You know, this could have been the opportunity for that. This could have been the opportunity to create a map where we had specific game mode development throughout that worked really, really well. This is another very generic map where it's gonna be rocks and trees and open you know, it could be a litany of other maps. So it's nice to have a new map, but I don't really see what makes it stand out. You know, it feels kind of generic, and it's just like, it's a bit of a missed opportunity if they don't capitalize on this. You know, this is something that's supposed to add more longevity to the game. Well, if it's just going to be your kind of rinse and repeat map, I mean, it feels like it's trying to maybe sort of hit all the marks of kind of like, it's got some open spaces, it's got some closed spaces, it's got some high bits, some low bits. It's just kind of like tick, 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 tick the box. They really need to add some character aspects around this map rather than just some hills and trees and stuff. You know, there needs to be some character buildings, some character elements. There needs to be some kind of thing which makes you think this isn't just like, you know, Dragon Valley or something like that, combined with Altai, combined with Guilin. You know, there needs to be some other elements going on here, and it just feels like it's an amalgamation of those things right now, which doesn't particularly excite me, and I don't see why it would be exciting either. It's kind of, you know, there's obviously, whenever you make a new map, you're going to have some of those same elements, because there's not that much you can do to differentiate between maps. But when you look at something like Hainan Resort, okay, when you look at a map like Paracel Storm, they have very specific characteristics and specific feelings. This map, to me, even in this early stage right now where we're looking at the foundation level, doesn't really have any of that. There's nothing here that makes me think that's the standout thing that makes me think of this map. You know, what is the element here which stands out to me? There's this gigantic waterfall which seems to bear no relevance to the gameplay whatsoever. It's just this background scenery thing, very much like the dam in Langkang Dam. And you know, it's right there all the time, but it doesn't ever have any impact on you. So, you know, lovely waterfall, but you know what? It doesn't have any bearing on the map. So it's very kind of hard for me to kind of be like, yeah, this map, because I played it this evening and I was like, okay, I'm having some Battlefield gameplay. I'm running point to point and so on and so on. But even, you know, people say, I know exactly what people are going to say, and I know exactly what maybe other producers and some of my detractors are going to say. They're going to be like, oh, listen, it's still early stage. You know, yeah, I know it's an early stage. You'd have to be an idiot to not see that it's an early stage, and I get that. I'm not stupid. Like, I can understand that the map will develop and change and that it will be fleshed out more. That's obvious. But the bare bones, this is actually the key aspect of this map right here. This is the bare bones. This is the point where you understand perhaps the most about how this map is looking. I just don't see it. Like, okay, like I say, there's a couple of things they can do to really improve this map and make it actually work and not just be something that's instantly forgettable. They need to add some character aspects. They need to make some of these bases or areas around the map have very, very specific, you know, feeling, emotivity, you know, something that will make you latch on and attach and think like that's what makes this map. Just it being like a jungle map with a waterfall doesn't do that. That could be anything. Like I say, it kind of mixes in with a ton of the other China Rising maps. It kind of makes you just feel like it's those things blended together in a bit of a kind of box ticking exercise. The game modes as well, like I say, you know, they really should have thought of some of the other game modes, like Chain Link, like Domination, like Rush. These things need to be able to work on this map. Well, this map seems purely designed around Conquest currently, and that's all well and good, because as a Battlefield player, you enjoy Conquest. But the space that exists between the points right now, it seems purely designed for Conquest. I can't see how it's going to be particularly well adapted to any of the other game modes, and that's a problem for me, because you don't want to just end up playing one game mode on the map for always, because that's kind of frustrating. You're going to end up in a situation where some of the China Rising and the Dragon's Teeth maps kind of only worked well on certain game modes, and others were a total write-off. Do we really want to be back in that situation? Should we be back in that situation when there's been a massive push and opportunity for community involvement here, and to say like, hey, we're listening to you, and you know, we're going to do the right thing, and we're going to work this through, and it's going to be this big thing. You know, I would have thought that DICE LA really want to showcase the fact that they can make an outstanding, balanced, well-designed, well-thought-out map which has a very strong characterized element which makes you think like, yeah, you know, in 5 years time you want to be having a conversation, be like, god damn, do you remember that map? It's fucking epic. Do you remember, oh my god, the games we used to have on that map were amazing. That's what you want. You don't want to just be like not even having that conversation because it's something you just never, like for example, Altai Range. When was the last time you said to someone like, oh my god, do you remember that Altai Range game we had the other day? Oh, it was amazing. No, nobody's talking like that, because you never had a good game on Altai Range. So from that point of view, yeah, it's a sniper fest right now, and again, perhaps when they flesh out some elements, sceneries, that will change up a little bit. When I say sniper fest, it's like a combination of actual snipers and people using the AN-94, because it's a laser beam, as you see. This thing is absurd. AN-94 is so OP. It's just like, oh, except when you're reloading. AN-94 is, yeah, powerful right now. I'll probably do a video about the guns and be like, here's the gun, and this is what I think. But, you know, because of course, you know, the one thing that Battlefield 4 needed right now is more guns. You know, that's what it needed. So much more guns. They're putting this and this, and I want to see the team play aspect more, because the team play CTE, remember that? Remember the team play CTE? Remember how that was going to be a thing, and now it's kind of like not a thing, but apparently still is a thing, except that just not really heard anything about it, because they're now doing freaking night maps and this and guns, and it's like all of my hope of the game actually sort of turning towards something that was going to be constructive has been crushed. And my kind of general mood about this game continues to decrease, because it's like, for all the changes that are coming, the priority still seems slanted in the side of like getting people on side from a PR point of view, and not actually getting things on board from just sort of getting the game freaking sorted out. It's just like, ugh. And you combine that with like Hardline and other things as well, it just kind of adds up to me not being happy. Anyway, who cares? It's only me, right? Anyway, let's carry on with this map thing. So yeah, what do you want? That's you know, it's a map. It's got bits in it. It's got stuff around there. It plays out like many other maps that you would play in Battlefield. I just don't really know what to tell you about this map. Like, it doesn't wow me or awe me or make me excited in any sense of the word. Like, it just kind of, it's got some hills and trees and bases, and it feels like a map. You know, it's like, What do you want? Get on and try it, I guess. I'll be covering it with all of your Battlefield 4 detail news and things that you need to know, and telling you all about it as it happens, and you can come watch and hear what I think about it. If they don't bother to really do much more to this map than what already exists, it's just going to be like completely forgettable, and that would be a big missed opportunity and a waste of effort. I mean, for God's sake, like, they put so much time into promoting this thing and getting people on board and deciding what's going to go into the map and blah blah blah, and it's like, if after all that we just end up with a map which has got like 5 points and some hills, trees and rocks, it's going to be like, why even bother? Haha, bad luck, Phantom Bowman. You didn't counter against my truck running you over. Oh no, I've died. That guy was running around with a phantom bow for this whole round. Didn't see him get a single kill. It was hilarity. Oh look, I'm jumping over these amorphous clay blobs right here. Anyway, so, you know, this could be amazing. It could be the greatest map you have ever seen in Battlefield, with lush, rich jungle environment and hardcore fought-out team play between the maps. Or it could just be anti-range in the jungle. In the jungle! Oh, I just thought of that. So yeah, sorry for my slightly apathetic tone. It's just that, like, oh, there's that crossbow, there's that phantom bow guy again. Bless his heart. Did anybody actually waste time getting that? Because I totally did not. You can get it, if you've never tried the phantom bow, if you're on the CTE, you can just, like, use it because everything is unlocked. So, you know, test it out and see how ridiculously incapable it is. So I mean, you can see, like, here there could be some cool moments where you're like sort of stealthing through the jungle, except that 3D spotting just kind of removes that ability of stealth and you'll just get shot or grenaded or whatever. I don't know. I don't want to be just like blah, but honestly, I mean, we need to wait a bit more. I want to see this in a later stage, and maybe it'll change my mind. But right now, even being as like fair and objective as I can be, nothing, just really nothing, like stands out for me with this. Yeah, you know. And as I say, the thing for me really is that it's not like I'm just like oh, for God's sake, like this isn't that exciting. The reason I kind of feel a bit more frustrated about it is kind of like, for crying out loud, this is like a huge opportunity to make like the best map. And again, you know, the greatest thing that if we end up with this, I would have said something like, I would much rather they just brought back Karkand, or they much brought back some of the maps from Aftermath, or anything like this, you know. Bringing that back and giving it an update would have been a million times preferable to just bashing out this generic map. So, I don't know. Drop your thoughts below. Tell me that I'm an idiot or not, and we'll see where we go from there. But it's not blowing me away at this point in time. You know, 10 out of 10 for effort in terms of making a map and allowing people to get onto it at this stage. But beyond that, it's Battlefield!